watching Miami Temple Kids.
Jesus is the one who lights our way. He gives us hope for each new day. When the world feels dark and lonely, His love illuminates. He's the one I trust and I will follow Him. He is the light that breaks through the darkness. Follow His lead and light it up. Jesus will guide us through every dark time. Follow His lead and light up the world. Jesus is the one who lights our way. He gives us hope for each new day. When the world feels dark and lonely, His love illuminates. He's the one I trust and I will follow Him. He is the light that breaks through the darkness. Follow His lead and light it up. Jesus will guide us through every dark time. Follow His lead and light up the world. I'm gonna follow Jesus wherever He will lead me. I'm gonna follow Jesus all the way. I'm gonna follow Jesus wherever He will lead me. I'm gonna follow Jesus all the way. He is the light that breaks through the darkness. Follow His lead and light it up. Jesus will guide us through every dark time. Follow His lead and light up the world. Light up the world. Light up the
Good morning, guys, and happy Sabbath. Today is January 16th. We're in the middle of the month already. I can't believe how fast time is flying. I know, for you guys, it seems so slow, but for us adults, oh, it goes by so fast. It's time for another Sabbath School lesson review with our Miami Temple teachers. So sit back and let's listen to our Sabbath School lesson review. When we return, I have some announcements for you guys, all right? We'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Good morning, beginners class, and happy Sabbath. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. 2 weeks ago, Teacher Debbie introduced us to the first lesson of January. Do you guys remember what your memory verse is? You don't? Well, let's look it up. It's found in Luke chapter 2, verse 51. And it says, Jesus was obedient. Good job. Now, if you don't have a Bible, you can put your hands together, open them, and say, Jesus was obedient. Luke 2, verse 51. I'm going to tell you the story of how Jesus was a great helper at home. I know you guys can be very good helpers too. Now, when Jesus was at home, and he would wake up in the morning, the very first thing he would do is roll up his mat. Now, maybe Jesus didn't have a nice, comfortable bed like you guys have, but he had a nice, comfy mat, and he had pillows and blankets. And so when he would wake up, the very first thing he would do was roll up his mat. Can you guys help at home rolling up your mats? Yes. How come you said no? Yes, you can. You're big enough. I know you can do it. But instead of having to roll up a mat, maybe you have a pillow that you can put on your bed. Or maybe you have a blanket that you can fold. That's how you are a good helper at home. Our memory verse says, Jesus was obedient. Luke 2, verse 51. Good job. When Jesus was finished rolling up his mat, it was time for him to start the day. Do you guys hear that? Jesus' stomach was probably very hungry. It was time for breakfast. Now, when he went outside of his room, maybe his mom, Mary, would say, Jesus, could you help me set the table? And Jesus would say, yes, Mommy. Yes, yes, Mommy, because Jesus was obedient. Luke 2, verse 51. So maybe Jesus would go and help and grab his special plate, his special spoon, his special knife, and his special fork. I know that at home, you guys have a very special plate and cup that you use for breakfast. So maybe when it's time for breakfast, you can say, Mommy, can I help? And you can go and get your plate and set it on the table, your cup and your fork or spoon, and get ready to eat. Then, when Jesus was finished eating his breakfast, would he just leave his plates on the table? No, Jesus would pick up his plates and take them to his mommy so she could wash the plates because Jesus was obedient. That's another way that you guys can help also, by picking up your plates and taking them to the sink as soon as you're done eating. I know you can do it. You're big boys and girls. Then, when breakfast was all done, was that all that Jesus had to do? No, Jesus loved to help, just like I know you love to help. Maybe he would say, Mommy, what can I help you with? And Mary would say, Jesus, can you help me dust the furniture? So he would get a duster and he'd start dusting the tables and maybe dusting the shelves and maybe dusting the plants, because sometimes plants get very dirty too. And he would dust the plants and he would help his mom clean the house. Jesus was a great helper. There's lots of things that you guys can do at home. Maybe you guys have plants and you can say, Mommy, Daddy, can I help water the plants? And you can help water the plants. You're big enough. You are able to help. I know you can do it. When Jesus was done helping inside the house, maybe he went outside because they had animals. They had donkeys, or maybe they had cows or chickens, or maybe they had puppies. Do you guys have pets at home? I know you do. I know you do. Who has puppies? I do. I have a puppy too. Maybe Jesus's job was to feed the animals. That's another way that you're able to help at home too. Maybe you can help feed the animals, feed your pets. Maybe you can give them water or take them outside to play, because to have pets, they need to run and have fun. They can't just be at home inside the house, the doggies at least. So Jesus would help his mommy with taking care of the animals. Was his day done? No, not yet. Then it was Jesus' turn to help his daddy Joseph. Joseph was a carpenter. So maybe then it was Jesus' turn to go inside his dad's wood shop and he'd say, Daddy, how can I help you? Now, he would maybe get a hammer, or maybe he was too little to get a hammer and go tap, 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 because he couldn't use the nails. But as Joseph was cutting, or he was making bookcases, or not bookcases, he would make stools or tables, Jesus was able to sweep in the carpenter shop. As he got older, maybe he did help build things. Jesus was also helpful with his daddy, because our memory verse says that Jesus was obedient. Luke 2, verse 51. It was so great doing the lesson with you guys today. I can't wait to see you next week. For now, though, it's time for a Sabbath School poem. So stand up, stand up, stand up. Ready? From the top of my head to the tips of my toes, I will be Jesus' child wherever I go. I'll see you guys next week. Happy Sabbath. Bye.
Happy Sabbath, kindergartners. I have so much to tell you about. But before I do, I want to talk to you about something I said 2 weeks ago. Remember when we were talking about things you can do on Sabbath and things you can do during the week? And I said putting away toys was not something you do on Sabbath, but you do it during the week? Well, I know some of you are saying to your parents, Miss Rhonda said that you don't have to put away your toys on Sabbath. Let me tell you what I mean. If you play with your regular toys during the regular days of the week, then you put them away on the regular days of the week. But when it comes to Sabbath, I know some of you have special Sabbath puzzles, special Sabbath games, special Sabbath toys that you play with on Sabbath. Well, then those toys you need to put away on Sabbath because you want your house to be nice and neat and clean all the time. So if you play with them on Sabbath, put them away on Sabbath. So let's get back to where we were talking about before. I was telling you about Jesus last week. Well, I'm going to continue and we're going to go through all these things. Now, you might have gotten a clue what I was going to ask you about. Okay. Every house in Jesus' time had a special animal. Maybe it was a pet. Maybe they had more than one animal. Now, can you think what every house animal would have been in Jesus' time? Okay, I'm going to tell you. A donkey. Yeah, a donkey. Now, the donkeys are very strong animals and they can carry weights on their back. So maybe when Jesus and his family were going somewhere, Joseph and Mary would pack the bags of maybe food and clothes and all the things they would need, and they would put it on the back of the donkey. And then they would walk with the donkey. Maybe one of them would ride the donkey while the donkey was carrying those packs. And they would go where they were going, and when they came back, Jesus was going to take care of the animal. Now, when the donkey came back, how do you think the donkey would feel? Tired, definitely, and maybe hot. So Jesus would give the donkey some water to drink. He would take the brush and brush the donkey's fur. Or is that hair? I think it's hair, right? And give the donkey some food. And he would take care of that donkey. He loved the donkey. Now, not only his animal did Jesus love, he loved other people's animals also. Let's say he was walking by the pond and he saw some animals that were wild, like these swans. He wouldn't go and chase the swans and make them fly out of the water. He would go softly by, and maybe if the swans came up to him, he might just brush their feathers. Other wild animals love Jesus too. Birds. Birds would maybe come down and sit on his shoulder. Yeah, maybe, because he was nice to them. He would feed them, give them bird food, and they loved Jesus and they trusted him because he never would hurt them. Now, other people's animals, maybe some people had dogs. And Jesus would be nice to the dog. Excuse me, birds. Excuse me. He would give the dog some food. Maybe the dog would sit up for him because the dog loved him and knew Jesus wouldn't hurt him. Maybe some families had cats. Jesus would be nice to the cats and the cats would rub up against his leg and he would pet the cats. What about sheep? A lot of people had sheep in those days too. Jesus was nice to the sheep. He would maybe give them water. Maybe he would pet them. Maybe he'd hold them in his lap. Now, he also had friends that were his age, maybe older, maybe younger. Kids liked Jesus too because he was always nice to them. He never said anything that was mean. And if he saw one kid being mean to another kid, he would tell that kid, don't do that. And the kid who was feeling bad, Jesus might put his arm around that kid and say, don't feel bad, I'll play with you. Because Jesus loved everybody. And everybody liked being around Jesus because he was always happy and cheerful and kind. And that's the way Jesus wants you to be. So, even animals that belong to others, like their dogs. Oh, I dropped the dog. Sorry, dog. Or their cats or their birds. So when you see animals, you be nice to them. That's what Jesus would want you to do. And when you see people, maybe there was a lady who was carrying a heavy load, and Jesus would offer to carry it for her. And she would smile at Jesus and he would smile at her because he loved her. Now, can you think of things that you love? I want to show you here. Here's a picture of a puppy and a kitty, and maybe Jesus would give them food. See, puppy food, kitty food, and then water, because we all need water. That's good. So what kind of things do you love? Chocolate. I know somebody said chocolate. Yeah, I know that. I love chocolate. But what kind of things? Let me look at this one. Let you look at this one. This says, I love good food that Jesus gives me. I want to be as healthy as I can be. How many of you like fruit? That's a good thing. What else do you love? Look at this one. I love good times. See me swing so high? First I look down, then up at the sky. I like going on swings too, even though I'm big. Got to get the swings for big people. I love my kitty and other pets too. I'll feed and pet them like good children do. All right, so you're going to be nice to your cat, even if it's not your cat. You're not going to kick the cat or swing the cat around by the tail. That's not nice. I love my playmates. I'll share my toys. I want to be kind to all girls and boys. Yeah. Jesus would have shared his toys. I love mommy and daddy. They are good to me. Because I love them, a better child I'll be. So how do you show your love for your parents? You obey them when they ask you to do something, or tell you to do something, or tell you not to do something. Because I love mommy, I will obey. When I hear her calling, I'll come right away. Yeah. Because I love daddy, I will obey. I'll help with his work before I play. It's good to help out daddy. Last one. Because I love Jesus, I'll obey him too. Jesus loves me and Jesus loves you. Yeah. So your memory verse talks about being kind. Your memory verse says, be kind to one another. That's just 5 words. Be kind to one another. Let's try that again. Be kind to one another. One more time. Be kind to one another. And where's that found in your pretend Bible? Ephesians 4, verse 32. Ephesians 4, verse 32. What does it say? Be kind to one another. And it's found Ephesians 4, verse 32. Until next Sabbath, kindergartners, be kind to one another. Bye.
Hi, my name is Michael. Today's memory verse is serve one another with love. Galatians 5:13.
Good morning, Primary Sabbath School class. Happy Sabbath to every one of you. I'm so glad you've joined us for this week's lesson review. Thank you, Michael, for doing our memory verse for us. Michael is one of our guests. He lives in Maryland, and we're so glad that he's been joining our Sabbath School for all of these weeks. Have you ever been in a really bad situation and you didn't know what to do, and all you could do was ask for help from somebody else? Well, in this week's story, we're going to hear about someone who got into a really bad situation, and then someone came to rescue them. It's kind of like what Jesus did for us. We got ourselves into a really bad situation, but God sent his Son to come and rescue us. And so now we can do the same for others. We can serve others and help to rescue them too. Enjoy the story.
When elderly Mr. Gomez became sick and had to spend a long time in the hospital, Ronnie, Cameron, Aiden, and Ariana decided to help Mrs. Gomez. Without saying a word, they cut her grass and cleaned her yard and would not accept any money. On the way home, they felt as if they were walking on air. And that must be exactly the same feeling that Abram had the day he met Melchizedek. It all started when 4 great enemy kings led their huge army to war against 5 little cities. One of the little cities was Sodom. Abram's nephew, Lot, lived in Sodom. The kings of the 5 little cities took their armies into the valley of Siddim. "We can surprise the 4 great enemy kings," they said. "Let us stop their army and save our cities." And so King Bera of Sodom led the way. But it didn't go as planned. They got lost among the huge tar pits in the valley, and many of the soldiers fell into the tar. The 4 great enemy kings knew their way around the tar pits, and soon they got to the city of Sodom. Enemy soldiers captured the people, including Lot. They carried the people and many of their animals and other things away. One captive escaped and ran to tell Abram what had happened. The 4 great enemy kings attacked us. Your nephew Lot is captured along with all of his family, the man reported. At once, Abram called his 318 men who were trained to fight. He also asked 3 of his neighbors who were leaders to bring their people to join with him. Together, they hurried after the 4 great enemy kings. Can you imagine Abram and his little band chasing after the 4 great enemy kings and their thousands of trained soldiers? Surely they would destroy Abram's little group. But Abram had God on his side. Surely Abram prayed for God's help all the way north to Dan. That's where he caught up with the 4 great enemy kings. During the night, Abram and his men made a surprise attack. The 4 great enemy kings thought that they were completely surrounded by a huge army. They dropped everything and ran. They left the captives, all the stolen things from Sodom, and their own things. The frightened soldiers ran all the way north past Damascus to Hobah. Lot and the other captives from Sodom were soon set free. Everyone began gathering up the things left by the defeated enemy kings. Soon they began traveling back toward Sodom. How happy Abram was! God had used him to save Lot and all the families from Sodom. On the way back, Abram's band entered the valley of Shaveh, not far from where Jerusalem is today. There the king of Sodom came out to meet them. Imagine how impressed this king must have been. Abram, his herdsmen, and the 3 neighbors had, with God's help, done what 5 kings could not. Melchizedek, king of Salem, and a priest who served God also came to welcome Abram and the others. Melchizedek brought food and drink for Abram and his men. The kingly priest prayed over Abram and blessed him, saying, "Blessed be Abram, by God Most High, Creator of heaven and earth, who delivered your enemies into your hands." Abram knew that God gave him the victory, so he gladly counted out all the silver and gold and flocks that he brought back. He gave the kingly priest God's tithe of everything, 1 of every 10 animals, pieces of silver, and pieces of gold. The king of Sodom saw all the things Abram gave as tithe. Gratefully, he told Abram to keep for himself all the rest. "Give me the people and keep the goods," he said. But Abram would not take anything for himself. He only asked for a share that the neighbors who had helped him were owed. Abram was happy to serve others just for the love of helping them.
Do not let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good. Romans 12:21.
Happy Sabbath, Junior family. We are on lesson 3, and the title of this week's lesson is, Who are the Blessed? Well, this week's lesson is about the time when Jesus gave his Sermon on the Mount. We have an opportunity to change this world. And Jesus brought a radical idea, an idea that was not really held at the time. It was love your enemies. That's really hard. That's really hard even for me today, loving your enemies. But regardless of how I feel, Jesus wants us to love those who are not easy to love. That's our PowerPoint for this week. We honor God when we serve people who are not easy to love. And it's kind of like this grapefruit. Now, I like to eat grapefruit, but sometimes I don't like eating it because it's so bitter. And that's how some people fall on us sometimes. It's like a bitter relationship. We're not really nice, and we don't want to be kind sometimes to some people because they kind of rub us the wrong way. But Jesus said that to love our enemies means something different. It's kind of like this salt. You know, a lot of people take salt and they pour it on their grapefruit. And they sprinkle it on so that actually what happens is the bitterness gets taken away by the salt. Our tongue has those receptors, those taste receptors, and when we add salt to the grapefruit, it takes away the bitterness. So all we taste is sweetness. And that's what Jesus wants us to be. Jesus wants us to be the salt of the earth. So when we come across people who are bitter, let them be sprinkled with who you are as a follower of Jesus. And you know what? That bitterness can easily be masked and be changed to something sweet. I'll see you later in our Zoom class, and have a blessed Sabbath, family.
Matthew 24:14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached to the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come.
Hello, my early teens. How are you? Well, I hope. Well, before we begin, why don't we say thank you to Amaru, who just reminded us what this week's lesson is all about. Thank you, Amaru. This week, we studied lesson number 3, which is entitled Living Beyond Ourselves, Risking It All for Jesus. Now, do you know what the word self-centered means? Well, whether you do or not, I can guarantee that at some point in time, you've either seen someone being self-centered or you yourself were self-centered. You see, because of our human nature, even if we're the most generous person on this planet, at some point in time, we feel like everything is about us, our wishes, our wants, our needs. Yeah, that's what being self-centered is all about. But Jesus calls us to live beyond ourselves. And when we do that, when we step away from our phones, when we put down our devices or we step away from the mirror, we look up and we can see that there are others around us who are in need. And more importantly, we can see that there are others who need God. You see, as followers of Jesus, we've been called to look beyond ourselves, to see others, to take the risk and step out of our comfort zone to talk to others about the love of Jesus. Yeah, to talk about the gospel. You can even say that as Christians, that's our mission. A mission which is quite possible, actually. Oh, hold on. I'm getting a message. Actually, I'm told it's a letter and it's for you. Yes, you, the early teen watching this video. And this is what it says. Agent Early Teen, this planet and all its inhabitants are under attack by sin and are in danger. You have been chosen to participate in their rescue. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to make the gospel known. Your field of operation will be the highways and byways, the halls and the malls. Share the good news of salvation through Jesus with everyone you meet. You can share Him not only through your words, but through your actions and your attitude. Dare to be different and live a life that is pleasing to God. Share Him by helping others at home and in your community. Spreading love and hope wherever you go. You can also tell others about Jesus when the subject comes up, or you can bring up the subject whenever the opportunity arises. Included in the kit are the tools that will be helpful to prepare you to fulfill your assignment. These are the tools: reading and studying your Bible, praying, personal worship time, family worship time, studying your Sabbath school lesson, listening to music about God, talking to or with others about God. You have a lifetime to complete this mission. This document will not self-destruct in 10 seconds. So, are you up to the challenge? Will you accept this mission? I'm pretty sure that unlike the guy from Mission Impossible, you won't have to levitate down a wall or from the ceiling. You'll find challenges though. Let's talk about all of this at 1 p.m. in our Zoom meeting. But until then, why don't we watch a short video? See you soon.
Jesus sets the perfect example of evangelism in John chapter 4, and it all feels so natural. Here's where Jesus' example really shines. How did Jesus make the conversation feel so natural?
And that was our Sabbath School lesson review for this week. Now, parents, just like we have done for the last year, between now and the 11 a.m. service, please review the lesson with your children. If you need help, please visit our website, miamitemple.org. Under our Children's Ministry tab, you will find the lessons for all the classes of Sabbath School. Under the Teacher's Edition, there's lots of great hints on how you can review the lesson with your children. Also, primary, juniors, and early teen, you guys have Sabbath School classes through Zoom at 1 p.m. If you're interested in joining one of our classes, please email me to children@miamitemple.org. I have a very short form for you to fill out. Send it back to me and I will give you the link for the following week. I look forward to seeing all of your faces. Have a very happy Sabbath. Bye.
You're watching Miami Temple Kids.